Today is March 7th, 2019. This story happened either yesterday or the day before yesterday. I'm going to read a quote from the friend of the dog owner. She says, "My best friend's dog was involved in an unfortunate accident yesterday where a little boy stuck his arm through a fence and he had a sock on his arm. Bear, the dog, who was playing with what he thought was a toy, bit down too hard and didn't see that there was a child on the other side of the fence. With him being a dog, he thought it was a game of tug of war and bit down too hard and took a lower portion of his arm. The situation is unfortunate on both sides." End quote. How is it unfortunate for the dog? The dog did not lose a limb. But aside from that, this story sounds very unbelievable to me. I don't know about anybody else. This is a 4-year-old boy. First of all, this is a fence that you cannot see through. Why would a 4-year-old boy want to play with a dog that he cannot even see? Where did the sock come from? You telling me a 4-year-old boy consciously decided to go into the house, get a sock, put it on his arm, go back outside, get on the ground. They say he stuck his arm between the ground and the bottom of the fence. They showed you exactly where this supposedly happened. Get on the ground and stick his hand through the fence to, quote, play with the dog? Now, I don't have any kids, but this sounds very unbelievable to me. I mean, those of you who are parents, are 4-year-olds, is their thought process this complex? Do they come up with these types of ideas where there's a dog on the other side of the fence that I can't see and I want to play with it while being unable to see it? So I'm going to go upstairs, get a sock, put it on my hand, get on the ground and stick it through the fence. And the dog, bit down too hard. No. You're talking about bone. A hand is totally missing. This wasn't just a chomp, right? When dogs realize they've bitten down on something that they don't want to bite down onto, they'll let go right away. Are they telling me that this child was not screaming? How did the dog respond to the screams? Now, as we know, when a child screams as they are being mauled by a dog, the dog instinctually becomes more aggressive. This is instinct. So while this boy is screaming, that dog had to have become even more aggressive. I don't even believe this story. Something happened. And I don't believe the scenario went down like this. Usually, when a story makes you scratch your head and you're trying to wonder, how could such a scenario take place? It sounds like something that someone made up. It was usually made up. So they've started a petition to save these dogs. They're considering putting the dogs down. What they need is a lawyer. What they need is to use common sense and to look at this story critically. I believe they're lying. I believe that dog just turned vicious and attacked that boy like dogs always do. But so far, this petition has 167,000 supporters. Supporters who I personally believe know full well that this story is a flat out lie. Someone said there had to be a trigger that scared/agitated the dog. They don't just go from being happy-go-lucky dogs to ripping off hands. Either look at the owner or the kid/parent. Something set this dog off. Put a sad face there and wrote praying for bear, praying for the dog. Here's a child that no longer has a hand, and they're praying for the dog. This happens. We know this happens every single time they sacrifice a child to their god, dogs. I've called this child sacrifice. That is exactly what this is. You know it is bona fide sacrifice when the followers always run to the defense of the dog. Always. Anytime they hear a story like this, their concern is the dog, not the child. Right? Somebody else said freak accident. Sucks, but doesn't warrant putting down the dog. Normal dog behavior to go after what looked like a toy or small prey. I'm not buying this story. And I believe all of these people know it's a lie, and they are going along with the lie, just like a typical cult does. They already know as soon as they hear the story, it's a lie, but I'm going to pretend to believe it. And I'm going to help reinforce the lie. It is extremely disgusting. Here's another comment. I believe the dog was under the impression that the hand covered in a sock was a toy and not a child's arm. I think this is a horrific accident. I don't believe the dog should be killed over this. The boy will survive. Parents need to educate their children in how to behave around dogs. And sticking your hand under a fence with a sock on your hand is, how do the parents know that this is what happened if they were not watching the child? And who would not intervene? First of all, ask the child, what are you doing? And I just don't believe that this type of thing runs to, I don't believe kids just come up with this kind of idea. This story sounds ridiculous. And the people who support this story sound ridiculous as well. And once again, you have people blaming the child. Many of you have heard the saying, play is a child's work. This is how they come to understand the world. They explore, they touch, they grab. You, as a parent, must create a safe environment for them to do that. One thing you do not do is bring a deadly creature into your environment. But even when this happens, they blame the child as if the child has some innate bad behavior. I watched a video the other day where they are projecting this child in a cartoon as if it's a devil. And it comes in to play with this dog. And they're playing this horror movie. Very disgusting. If I find the video, I will upload it at some point. But this is a part of their cult belief. It is very powerful, very prevalent throughout this world of dog lovers to project children as horrible, as terrible, as a menace, who harass dogs when it is the parents themselves who treat the dog like a toy. Look, we have a new dog, new toy. What do? They play with the dog. And they expect the child not to do the same, even though play is a child's work. This story sounds ridiculous. Nobody is going to convince me that a child would be even interested in playing with a dog that it cannot even see? What's the point in playing with something if you have no visual stimulation of what you're playing with? And that this boy decided to go upstairs. Where did the sock come from? Did he take it off of his own foot? That he decided to go upstairs, get a sock, put his hand in it, come back downstairs outside, stick his hand between the ground and the fence to play with a mutt. That story is ridiculous and disgusting. I don't know what actually went down, but I think the parents do know what went down, and they are trying to save this mutt, knowing that they themselves were negligent, irresponsible, immoral, no concept or sense of protection whatsoever, and they are trying to save that dog as well as themselves. They know that dog turned vicious, as dogs naturally do. They are naturally evil creatures. And even knowing that the dog turned violent, knowing that it should be put down, even after their child has lost his arm, they are still trying to save that dog. And they have an army of dog worshipers supporting them. Utterly disgusting. This is why this crusade was created, because this is a powerful, unified, disgusting, immoral cult that is dedicated to those dogs, and it requires blood sacrifice of children. And it is absolutely disgusting. If you don't say anything about a crime that you witness happening, you may as well be a part of that crime yourself. That is not going to happen on this corner of YouTube.